Shawn Adams is an architect, writer, and lecturer who currently teaches at Central St. Martin's, UAL, and the Architectural Association. Shawn also works as the outreach lead at housing specialist company HTA Design, LLP, and is the co-founder of the socially minded design practice Poor Collective. In 2023, Poor won London Design Festival's Emerging Design Medal. Shawn has written for the Financial Times, Wallpaper, Frame, Vice, The World of Interiors, The Architect's Journal, Ribe J, Icon, On Office, Mix Interiors, and Disegno. Shawn writes about global architecture and design and aims to platform the voices of those living across the Caribbean, Asia, and Africa. Shawn currently sits on the advisory board of Open Cities Accelerate program, is a trustee of the Museum of Architecture, and is a Ribe J Rising Star. He has expertise in architecture, community engagement, and delivering social value. He has worked with H&M, IKEA, the Royal College of Art, the Office Group, and the South London Gallery. He also has extensive experience working with young people, having delivered workshops at numerous primary and secondary schools across the UK. Let's welcome architect Shawn Adams.
Hi, Shawn. Welcome to Architect's Corner. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for honoring this interview on Architect's Corner. We're grateful to have you. So, Shawn, you've had an impressive career as an architect, a writer, and a lecturer. Can you share a bit about your journey and how you got to this stage in your career?
Yep, so I've always wanted to become an architect. So from when I was a kid, I've always been fascinated about architecture, being able to shape spaces, design, and I've always been quite creative. So I kind of spent most of my childhood years following that passion, despite not knowing any architects at the time or even until I was 18. So following that passion, after I finished school, I went to study architecture at university. Then after that, I worked a bit and I went back to continue studying. And then when I qualified as an architect, I think just under 2 years ago now, I started thinking about what I wanted to do in the next kind of stages of my career. And as much as I wanted to kind of practice as architecture by then, I was quite interested in teaching and I was also interested in writing. So I was just trying to see how I could kind of merge the three things. And what ended up happening is having multiple hats and having to juggle the three.
Okay, and how has it been so far with the three?
I think it's quite difficult having multiple different jobs. So even though I love teaching and I love practicing architecture, I love writing, it's difficult when you have to shift your mindset and your work with different people on different types of projects, because it's already difficult if you work in one job and you're working on different projects because you have to keep on top of things. But when you've got different emails, different contacts, different accounts, like it does become a little bit of a manic juggling act.
Okay, I get that. Okay, so with your experience in both practice and teaching, what are some current trends in architecture that you find exciting or promising?
I think the one at the moment has one of the main ones has got to be AI and how we use it, because now everyone's talking about Mid-Journey, everyone's talking about ChatGPT, Grammarly, Otter, all of these different AI tools, and not only ones where it seems to be like, okay, we could put something in AI and get a quick fix, but also tools like Grammarly, where it is AI based, or Otter that can transcribe things. Like, how can these AI tools become part of the process? And I think that's quite interesting because it presents a really quite powerful opportunity for us to think of new ways to actually develop designs or develop work. 'Cause I think a lot of people think with AI, okay, I'll just put on Mid-Journey, that's my design. But no, I feel quite fascinating that you could generate your own imagery, and off the back of that, you can use that to think about new types of design. So I don't think like AI, for example, you just use it and then take the final product. But this is what we're seeing in both university and practice. In university, you can imagine all the students want to get ahead with AI, some because they want to kind of get through university easily, others because they're just interested in technology. But also in practice, we're seeing architects use AI kind of image generating platforms or systems such as DALL-E or Midjourney to quickly generate imagery that they can use for bids. So I think that's definitely one of the interesting trends at the moment.
That's quite interesting. But how do you see the role of technology evolving in architecture over the next decade?
I think it's the same as going from the drawing board to the computer, because I think technology should be used as a tool to help actually progress ideas or to help develop projects. So, for example, a lot of people looked at in there, but the architects that actually still use their design training, then able to create some of the most kind of sophisticated and incredible architecture. So I think it is a tool. It's like having a toolbox in the same way the pencil is a tool, the computer is a tool, the AI software, I think should be used as a tool. It shouldn't just be used as the kind of be all and end all.
But since there is a lot of discussion around AI potentially overshadowing human creativity,
Mm.
what impact do you think artificial intelligence will have on the field of architecture? Like,
I
and
think
and on how students and even architects can position for it.
I think going back to that point of it as a tool, I think I don't see anything wrong with using AI. I think a lot of people are scared of using AI because they think people are just gonna like put in some prompts and they would generate something and that's it. But I think if you can generate ideas using AI and then you can sketch over it, develop the ideas yourself, like I think there's something quite poetic about that. But if you're not doing that, I think that's where the problem comes. Like if you're, for example, if people that are using ChatGPT, like I can understand like innovative ways where you might want to use ChatGPT to maybe like see how they would reword something or see how they would structure something. But I don't think you use ChatGPT and then that's your text, you just copy that over. No, no way. I think all of these AI tools, they need to be they need to be part of the process. Because otherwise I think then yeah, then it's like why doesn't the machine create everything? And why do we need anyone doing anything when we can get the machine to do everything?
Okay. So invariably you're saying you don't envision AI replacing architects, you only see it as
Mm.
a tool that would complement the architect.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's cool. Then also, I recently read about your publication on the metaverse. You
Yeah.
mentioned the metaverse is a new way of experiencing space in a 3D internet that uses virtual reality. As a lecturer, do you think AI should be incorporated in the educational curriculum, especially now that it's a thing?
Yeah, definitely. I think it definitely needs to be part of the curriculum because these trends, there's no point trying to avoid these trends or to try and get students to only draw by hand or to not use it because the reality is if it's something that other people are using, everyone's gonna eventually get their hands on it. And I think it's better to address them and teach them the power of it to kind of like tell them to not use it.
Then, in practice, how can architects or even architecture firms leverage the metaverse to solve real life challenges?
I think the metaverse at the moment is a tricky one because it's not at the stage where I think it can actually do a lot of the things that is promised. So having this 3D world where you can jump in and see a space is not quite there. The technology, the VR headsets are not quite there. But I guess with the ambition of it being there, it would be fantastic in the future if you could have a whole client team, everyone jumps into the metaverse, and then they can start looking at the different intricacies of the building without having to go to site. But I think for now, that I don't know if that could take 50 years, 100 years to actually really get there. But I think the ambition is fantastic.
Okay, interesting. Then with what you do at Paul Collective, do you integrate AI or you just for now?
At the moment, we're kind of in the early stages of thinking about how we can use like artificial intelligence within our work. So our work with young people is thinking about if we're trying to generate imagery or generate concepts, can we get young people to maybe put some prompts into AI to generate stuff? Because with the AI, what we see is that there's an opportunity for there to be this kind of democracy of design. Because if you give everyone AI tools, everyone now has the power to try and create stuff. So a lot of the time when you think about creativity and design, you think of people that are like have done a lot of training, which I think is correct. But if you're trying to engage young people to design stuff, they may not feel comfortable sketching and a lot of the time we do collaging exercises where they're taking something and they're creating something based off the collage because they may not feel confident drawing something. But if we're able to give them some AI and they could generate some images, then they'll feel a bit more confident. But then our skill as a designer is to take something that's maybe fantastical or not realistic and transform it into something well.
Thank you so much for that. So with the current trends in AI, how do you envision the field of architecture in the next 10 to 15 years?
I think with artificial intelligence is going to allow us to create architecture that is much more complex. And I think it's the same thing when we saw like more geometric design and more parametric design coming to become a trend in architecture. We started seeing much more complicated architecture being designed and much more complex systems. But I think also off the back of that, I think we're going to be able to see architecture that focuses more on sustainability, that focuses more on like construction, how things are going to be put together, because now the technology will be much more sophisticated to carefully think about a lot of these things. So I think it will be like much more progressive.
For students who are seeking to do their masters in AI, what do you think they should look at, especially
I think,
for students coming from third world countries like Nigeria, where
yeah,
these things haven't been implemented yet?
yeah. I think they need to think about like what is the application of the artificial intelligence because I really think it's a tool. I think it's not just something that you by itself will kind of create answers. I think it needs to be implemented in, okay, if you're trying to make a solution, how can the AI help you get closer to that solution? I think because just taking the final product, like you also got to think who has actually created the AI. Like they might have an agenda, they may come from a specific part of the world, they may have a specific kind of politics. So you need to think about all of those stuff because it's kind of like thinking about some of these software and how they like give you out text. Like where does that text come from? Like because behind all of this AI will be someone that is setting up the kind of voice, the tone, the character essentially of that artificial intelligence. So I think again, yeah, you need to consider all of those things because the AI might give you something that's just not appropriate for your country, your climate, where you live. So I think, yeah, I would say to anyone, think of it as a tool, the same way a computer is a tool.
Thank you so much for this.
Because I think AI and like some of the trends that are coming up, I think they're really quite interesting. But I think you can't really like hide away from them. Because I think it's always funny when new trends come in. It's kind of like the thing with Netflix.
Yeah.
When it first came in and these streaming platforms, people were kind of like, no, they won't really work. But if you don't get on board or start, like, you don't necessarily have to champion it, but see what's going on. You don't want to get left behind. Because imagine you're a student
Exactly.
now and you're not using AI, but all your other students using AI, like, and you're thinking how they done so much work so quickly. So you need to, I think you always need to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, then I was thinking, is it possible to integrate BIM and AI?
I'm not too sure as of yet. I think the direction that these things are going in, I think eventually, yeah. But I don't know. So at the moment, how I'm seeing AI being used is like image generating.
Yeah,
So I'm seeing more concept design. When we get to BIM, that's more delivery. I'm not seeing AI yet in
in that.
delivery, but you can imagine where that would be. Like, for example, clashes in the building. So if you're looking
Mhm.
like on Revit, for example, if you've got a Revit model and there's like, I don't know, a clash between the plumbing and the electrics, for example, if you had AI that could do clash detection and see all the examples of where it's clashing and then help to resolve it, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. But
Exactly.
I don't know if that's quite there yet.
Maybe, who knows, with technology, it's
Yeah. But I think that's probably the direction things will be going in, because when something's a buzzword, everyone wants to get a piece of it. So I think that's where it'll be going.
you have any other comments you want to make on AI in architecture? Probably the questions
Um,
didn't cover.
Not really. I think the questions were quite good. I think, yeah. Um, yeah, I think I covered everything that I could kind of think of in terms of AI, really. I think it's quite exciting. So, but like I was saying, we're trying to look at how you can use it, because, yeah, I think everyone needs to. It's like drawing everything and someone's got a computer. Like, you need to start to use it before you get left behind. But yeah, I think I
Mhm.
covered everything. But yeah, I think the questions were good, so thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you then, Rose. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and thanks
And
again.
you too. All
See you
right. You
soon.
too.
Bye.
Bye. So to wrap up this video session, do you have any questions bothering you about the NIA ACORN architecture and architectural practice in general in Nigeria? I'll leave a link in the description of this video so as to enable you ask your questions. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get notified when the questions have been answered by architects and when I upload the next video. And finally, share this video to your friends so that more people can be informed and send in their questions. We can all learn from one another. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. Thank you. See you next time.